The Self-Propelled Heavy Artillery, or the SPHA, Walker was a modular heavy artillery unit used by the Grand Army of the Republic during the Clone Wars, and by the Galactic Empire afterwards. It bore a resemblance to the smaller Republic stun tank, also utilised during the Clone Wars.
The Battlefront Network, giving you your daily dose of Battlefront content.
Hey everyone, and welcome! Yes, indeed, we are talking about the possibility of heavy or medium artillery walkers making an appearance in Star Wars Battlefront. My name's Tom, and you're watching the Battlefront Network today. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now, we have in fact seen the heavy artillery walker before in Star Wars Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones, in the Battle of Geonosis. And we've also been able to use the medium artillery walker on a Star Wars video game, and that was Star Wars Empire at War. Now, these two vehicles are certainly very, very interesting, and in turn, very, very powerful. Now, I was sifting through a few ideas and notes, and I came across the vehicles, and I remembered seeing them before, of course, in the film and playing it with the game, because of course I have Star Wars Empire at War, and you may do as well. And I just thought to myself, is there some way that these vehicles could be implemented into the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront? And if so, how would they work with the gameplay? Well, I did a bit of research on the vehicles themselves, and this is what I came across. So the Heavy Artillery Walker, which is also known as the SPHA, which stands for a Self-Propelled Heavy Artillery Walker, had 12 legs that served as a mobile support structures. Unlike smaller walkers such as the ATTE, the SPHA units were unable to be carried into battle by the LAATC gunships, which of course we did a video on that previously, because of their huge size and weight. The SPHA Walker is in fact capable of supporting a variety of weapon types to be used on the battlefield, those being a turbo laser, an ion cannon, an anti-vehicle laser, a concussion missile launcher, a mass driver cannon, and anti-personnel blasters. This gives the vehicle the ability to confront many different types of enemy forces and adapt to many different types of situations. The weapon variants that are available to the vehicle offer immense destructive power, but all suffer from the same disadvantage of lack of ammunition, as of course it would run out very quickly if not managed correctly. Unfortunately, the vehicle does not contain a complex turret mechanism, meaning that the vehicle must completely reposition itself in order to fire its weapon in a different direction. And because of the fixed weapon positioning, as well as the slow firing speed of the turbo laser, the SPHA is unable to track rapidly moving targets such as speeders or small atmospheric craft. And like other walkers, the use of articulated legs prevented the SPHA from being vulnerable to anti-repulsor lift weapons, at the cost of some mobility. The SPHA Walker was equipped with heavy armour, especially in the frontal area of the vehicle around and just below the command deck. This armour, as you can imagine, was necessary to protect the vehicle's reactor core from enemy fire, as any meltdown and subsequent explosions would cause tremendous collateral damage. So there you have it, that's the Heavy Artillery Walker. Now, it is of course a very, very big vehicle and very, very powerful, but of course the turret it has and all the weapons that are available to it, of course the vehicle has to turn itself around completely in order to fire in a different direction. It can't turn its turret on its own, which is quite a big disadvantage to the vehicle itself, as it can't, target fast-moving vehicles. But again, it is very powerful, so it can destroy rather large vehicles, and it does have a very long range with the turbo laser, so that's awesome. But the vehicle itself does complement the two other key components of the Republic military strategy, and they are the ATTE Walker and the LAATI gunship. And in a typical attack, the ATTEs and LAATs would spearhead the assault, establishing a forward base and allowing heavier support forces, such as the SPHA Walkers, to consolidate gains and provide reinforcements. So when I read that, that's what I think you could actually do for the gameplay. So of course, we have been able to use the ATTE and the LAATI gunships in Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2, before. But they could be in the new game if the Clone Wars was included, of course, and the SPHA walker could be set back on the battlefield, and it could move in throughout the game, or it could be dropped off somehow, during the game that players could use to take down massive enemy, resources or ships or something like that. And I was also thinking it could be used in like a commander mode type feature. So of course that Battlefield 4, which is of course another game created by DICE, developed by DICE, includes a commander mode feature where a player can has an overview of the battlefield as it's going on, and can of course make objectives and call missile strikes and stuff like that. So of course, if Battlefront was to include such a feature, this vehicle would come in handy with that, because they could drop it off mid-game, or they could be situated outside the battlefield, so of course players could not be able to use them apart from the commander, who could command them to fire on a certain target, which would be amazing. Now, of course, in the Battle of Geonosis on Star Wars Episode 2, The Attack of the Clones, we saw the SPHA units take down a Lucrehulk class core ship. I think that's how you say it, correct me if I'm wrong. But those ships are massive, and of course, Mace Windu did say, each one carries an army large enough to threaten an entire planet. So of course, that does show the power of this vehicle. Now, if DICE was to include the Clone Wars, and of course we're all hoping they do, but we'll know later on in the year if they do or not. But if they do, then they could of course include the Battle of Geonosis, just like Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2 that we could play on, and they could include these vehicles, and of course the Lucrehulk class core ships, as kind of a Levolution aspect, I think, maybe, that could cause a sandstorm, or they could have them as objectives to destroy. And when this big ship becomes an objective, players can rush to these SPHA units and of course fire at it and of course take it down. And if they don't get there quick enough and don't take it down, then of course the other team gets extra points or something like that. So that's what I imagined, for the gameplay side of things, to add this vehicle in there, because it would really be cool to see this in action with Frostbite 3 and just the immense power of the vehicle itself being unleashed on multiplayer, or even just on single player. That would be awesome to play, or instant action if it's included, or maybe to be included on Galactic Conquest. Now that certainly would be a very good addition to the feature Galactic Conquest, because I imagine it's just like Empire at War, where you can actually do a Galactic Conquest and you can build your vehicles and put them all together and take them around, and attack planets and invade and stuff like that. So you can have this vehicle just for that feature Galactic Conquest and be able to equip it to a fleet, and of course fly to a different planet where your enemy is residing, invade the planet with the vehicle and take down big massive assets that the enemy has, of course, such as the Lucrehulk class core ship or things like that. So that'll be awesome to see, and I would just really want to see this vehicle in the game. So please let me know in the comment section below what you think, or what your ideas are if this vehicle was to be included in the game. The vehicle would be amazing on land battles and would be so much fun and just awesome to see, but it could also be used in space battles. Now, if you remember in Star Wars Episode 3, when Anakin Skywalker's and Obi-Wan Kenobi's ships were flying throughout the Battle of Coruscant towards General Grievous's ship, they passed a Venator-class cruiser, which of course is on the Republic side, and it took down a munificent, I think that's how you say it, a munificent class frigate. Now, the laser that was shot from the Venator-class cruiser was from the hangar underneath the ship. Now, I thought that was just a laser that was part of the ship, like a big weapon gun on the side of it. But it turns out that laser came from an SPHA unit that was inside the hangar, specifically for that battle to help shoot down enemy frigates. So even though the vehicle itself is very, very slow, big, and slow at firing, it could in fact be used in space battles on the game if it were to be implemented in the hangar of the Republic ships, because of course it is a Republic vehicle, and it would just stay static, stationary, and it could maybe move a little bit around, but the actual Republic cruisers could move around the battle area like they did in Star Wars Battlefront 2, where the frigates on the Republic side and of course the CIS side did actually move around a little bit. So maybe they could do this for Battlefront, but the actual capital ship moves around this time. And these could be in the little hangar at the bottom. Well, it's not little, it's quite big. But they could be there, and if they do actually pass a frigate or maybe the enemy capital ship, they could fire on that and damage it. Or if they do include space-to-ground battles, which I really, really hope they do, and there was a rumour released that they are going to do it, so hopefully they do. But nothing's been confirmed yet, so don't get your hopes up too soon, just in case they don't. But if they did include that, they could actually have the SPHA unit inside the hangar, and if it's orbiting quite, well, not orbiting, it's quite, it's on the planet, in the atmosphere or wherever, it's close enough to the ground for the SPHA to aim and fire at targets. That would be awesome, and we'll just add a really, really cool feature and a really, really cool level of gameplay and just awesomeness. So just tell me what you think in the comment section below about that. So that's the Heavy Artillery Walker. Now we also have another variant of this vehicle which was used by the Galactic Empire during the Galactic Civil War era, and that is the Self-Propelled Medium Artillery Walker, or also known as the SPMA. And of course it was the successor to the SPHA artillery line used during the Clone Wars. Now, the characteristics of this vehicle, it was a model that was fitted with a long-range variable trajectory turbo laser cannon, and due to its modular design, it could, like its heavier predecessor, be deployed with specific payloads for different missions. And it was generally faster and more nimble than the SPHA, and most of the walkers were also equipped with 12 light anti-infantry blasters that emerged from the ventral surface of the vehicle when in use. Improvements in materials after years of research following the Clone Wars meant that the artillery walker could be lightened with the use of more modern alloys and composites. The SPMA walker's range was quite long, but they required targets to be sensor painted in order to score a hit. The combination of slow movement and light armour meant that the SPMAs were usually dispatched with an escort. So that's this variant of the vehicle. Now, it is quite smaller and a lot lighter than the one used in the Clone Wars, the SPHA, and of course it has quite a long range still, but I don't think this vehicle could actually be used in Battlefront, unfortunately, because looking at the appearances of the vehicle, it only appeared in Star Wars Empire at War and Star Wars Empire at War Forces of Corruption, and it doesn't actually state any more appearances of the vehicle itself. And we do know that the Star Wars Battlefront is the only game and the first game that's Star Wars based that was considered canon in the Star Wars universe by Disney. So that means that Star Wars Empire at War is not considered canon, and therefore the vehicle isn't itself. But it is really, really cool, and maybe they could find some way of implementing it into the game and somehow of allowing it to be implemented in the game. That would be fantastic, because this, out of the two, would be more preferable to use since it is smaller and more manoeuvrable and a lot quicker than the larger SPHA. So that'd be awesome to see, and using it on Empire at War is really cool because it does move pretty fast compared to the other vehicles, and the range is pretty far on the game, so it's really cool. And playing on Empire at War is just epic because when you play as the Empire, you just feel so powerful being able to deploy all of your troops and all of your vehicles and just crush the rebellion, especially space battles. It's awesome. So I would love to see either one of these vehicles make an appearance in Star Wars Battlefront, because I think they really could add to the gameplay and could be a really, really awesome powerful vehicle that we could all use and just love. Either that be in the campaign, multiplayer, instant action, in a space battle like I mentioned, it being inside the hangar of the Republic ship, or a Star Destroyer if they were to use the SPMA. And it would just like be amazing just to fire that big laser or either one of the weapons available to the vehicle itself and just use it against the enemy. And they could even, if they were to add it, they could implement a weapon customization type feature where you could customize your own SPHA or SPMA with the type of weapon that you would like. So of course someone could have a turbo laser on theirs, whereas someone else could have an ion cannon in theirs. So it it offers a bit more variance to the vehicle and to the players. So that'd be awesome to see. And literally all these vehicles that I've mentioned throughout these videos, I would love to see them, and I think they would really, really aid the gameplay and make it just awesome. It was quite an interesting idea that I came across, so I do really want to know what you think about this. So please do let me know in the comment section below about what you think about this idea, or how it could be implemented, or what other vehicle you'd like to see be implemented into the game. So thanks for watching, my name's Tom, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.